Okay, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Jafar, thank you so much for joining us again. It's been a couple of weeks, but Alhamdulillah, we've got you. Um, and what we'd like to do is today, what I'd like to focus on, inshallah, is the actual figures of the farm, what we often share with our investors during calls. 'Cause I think people are going to be they're going to be able to benefit from looking at the assumptions we're making and why we're projecting what we're projecting. But before we do that, how are you? And I know that it's been quite a stressful last couple of weeks. So just give us an update about what's been happening.
Yes, Walaikum Salam. I'm well. So basically, we are arranging silage. Silage, is the core ingredient of the feeding for the animals. It's made up of corn. So we are arranging silage for the farm. We made our silage in May, which now is finished. And this year, the crops didn't do well in our area, so the silage is short for all the dairies. So the prices are gone really up. So I'm just trying to get best deal for the farm.
Okay. All right.
So the prices are really high now at the moment. So as we discussed earlier, that we would go into uh, doing our own agriculture as a separate entity, and we can make money out of it. So this is the prime example. So for example, if in May, prime season of making silage, we had made silage of 300,000 pounds with all the expenses. At this moment, that 300,000 after 6 months would have gone up to 500,000 pounds. So
Wow.
that's the difference between now and then.
Just in six
Obviously,
months.
500 just in 6 months. So obviously, the price would be at 500,000 minus all the billing costs. So we are looking at a profit of 150,000 pounds in 6 months over an investment of 300,000 pounds.
Well, and that's something that. So how would that look in terms of as an investment structure? Would people invest once, get their money out after 6 months, and then next year you do it again, or how would that work?
So basically, there are two seasons when we make silage. One comes in May,
Hmm.
and the other one comes in end of October.
Okay.
But the May one, in May, if we make silage, that quality is very high.
Right.
In local terms, that's known as Baharia silage, which means silage made from the crop of uh, not spring season. Yeah, spring season is the best.
Okay.
So at that time, if we have the funds and we make the silage and we dump it over here with us, and now we bale it and sell it to other farms, it's massively profitable.
Wow. Okay. Okay. That's interesting. So,
We have already done the practice of selling it. We have clients in northern areas who are willing to buy it right now as well, but unfortunately, we don't have silage to sell. We're
hmm.
buying it for ourselves.
And
So that's a,
what is
yeah.
silage, Jafar? What like obviously you said corn. Is it just corn, or is it just a mixture of different ingredients?
No, it's just corn. So what we do is we have this chopper machines which go into cornfields and chop the cornfields and convert it into like small pieces, like inch pieces. I can show you silage as well, but I have to make a call to bring them in. So that's the core ingredient. So we can store silage up to 2 years. So if you have silage, at the farm, it's the core ingredient which goes into the feed of animals.
Right. Right. Okay. Okay. And it's indispensable. You can't make feed without it.
No, then you have to go, but there are other sources, but that's really not practical in Pakistani environment.
Okay. So there's alternatives, but it's quite expensive.
You have to own very huge amount of land to grow grass and other sources of fresh fodder for that.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Okay. Good. So and at the moment you're meeting with people that are going to provide the silage. You were just saying that some people will be visiting the farm.
Yeah, obviously, now is end of December, and we need the silage for next 5 months till end of May. until
Okay.
the new crop comes in. So these 5 months, we need huge amount. Each cow averagely eats 30 kg of silage every day.
Okay. Wow.
So when you multiply it by 350 or 400 animals, and then you multiply by 180 days, it's a huge amount.
Yeah, absolutely. Subhanallah. And obviously, it makes sense then for us to think ahead. And not only do we make money for in terms of making a profit, but we can take care of our own needs at the farm as well.
Yeah, obviously. In May, the price which we calculated was around 10 rupees and 25 cents, basically. So at this moment, it's 21 rupees. So it's more than
More than double.
uh, double, yeah.
Wow, it's crazy. Okay. So, Jafar, thank you for that introduction. If you can share, maybe share the investor spreadsheet that we often go through, and then we'll work our way through it. I'll ask you some questions about some of the assumptions, but I think this is really helpful for people to be able to understand the figures and the assumptions we're making and the projections we're making.
Okay, let me open up and share it with you. So just, I have sent you a request, please approve it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Got it.
so this is basically the growth plan on which we are working.
Mm.
So currently we are just heading towards year 2025 and we are closing year 2024. So we have achieved a target of being at a number of 319 animals,
Yeah.
which we at the farm. And in 2025, we are heading towards 522 animals.
So, how many animals do we currently have on the farm?
Currently, we have almost 350 animals. Plus, we have animals, almost more than 100 animals who are pregnant, who are going to calf in next 6 months. Plus, we are running our own insemination program to get the other animals pregnant, so we can reach a target of 522, 550 animals.
Wow, amazing. Okay. And Jafar, just I know we're adding animals through shipments every so often, maybe 30 animals a year or something. Does that how does that factor in with these numbers?
Obviously, these numbers will grow with those investments. But in the end, we have a target of achieving. I have already counted these numbers in. So we would, instead of going to 1,000 figure in 2030, you look at 2029. So we would be nearly about there in 2029. So we have reduced a year in that number as well.
That's because we're adding extra animals onto the farm.
Yeah, we are making different sorts of investments in the farm.
Okay, all right, fantastic. Okay.
So as the
Um,
moment, as I was telling you before, we are right on our growth plan. We just have to construct the infrastructure to hold these many animals. So our focus in next 2 years is all on infrastructure.
right. Okay, and where are we in that regard
So
at the
now
moment? How much have we built so far?
we are pretty much there. We just require two big sheds now. One shed is under construction. The other one, we have to do it in 2025. So both of them we'll try to finish in 2025 or in mid 2026.
Okay, fantastic. And after that, there's no massive expenditure from the farm in terms of expected expenditure.
No massive expenditure. There would be only one, which would be the upgradation of our milking parlor to support 1,000 milking animals.
Mm.
But other than that, no.
Okay, fantastic. Okay. Um, okay,
So
so
now if you want me to explain the revenue which would be we would be generating in next few years.
Yes, please.
So, uh, starting from year 2026, ending 2026, uh, we would be generating a very small amount, which comes to around 562 US dollars per shareholder, per unit
Hmm.
holder.
Hmm.
It's going to move up gradually. In 2027, we would be looking around $1,000. 2028, that amount would go up to $4,000. 29, that would be $6,000. And from the year ending 2030, we are going to see around 12 to 15,000, depending upon the price of animal that year. We would be making profit of in between 12 to 15,000 US dollars per unit holder.
And those figures that we've just gone through. This is just the sale of once we get to 2029. That's just basically based upon the sale of animals.
Yes, that's basically just the sale of animals.
Yeah. Okay.
So we would have other revenue as well, which is milking revenue, but that would basically uh, go up, go on a real stream when we are actually stable in 2032. But till then, for the next 2 years, we would be looking around uh, 3 to 4,000 US dollars per shareholder in that amount as well.
So, okay, so in 2029, 30, what's the 2030, what's the total? Is it 17,000 projected that they should be getting per year?
It's projected around 15 to 17,000 from both revenues, selling and milking revenue. But I would say, to be on a safer side, that it would be around 13 to 16,000, not more than that.
Okay, all right, good, good. And as you said, so what were you
We
just
have
saying?
to,
Sorry.
I was just, sorry, because there is a lot of variation in milk price. So these are based on my calculations, that can go up as well and pretty much a little bit down as well. But that's the range we have been looking at.
Okay. And uh, obviously the bulk of the profits is being generated by sale of animals. What price have you factored in to these animals? What assumptions are we making?
Okay, so heifer price, at the moment, heifers are going for 3,500 US dollars in Pakistan, but last year it was 4,000, and a year before it was 5,400 US dollars. Next year it's expected to go back up to 5,000 US dollars per heifer, but the price which we have put in for the calculations over here is 3,000 US dollars. We have made it very conservative, so we don't have any sort of backlash when we are going to give dividends to our shareholders.
Okay, that's really good. That's good to know. That's good to know. But realistically, in terms of past experience, it's never really gone below 3,500.
No, no. Basically, it can go below 3,500, but the quality of those animals won't match the quality of animals which we have.
Okay. All right.
We have all our herd is registered, they are genomically tested, they are pedigrees. So there's a difference between a registered animal, a genomically tested animal, and a commercial heifer.
Hmm. And okay, that's good. That's good to know. I mean, I know we spoke previously in our private conversations about sort of the need for meat as well in some of the Arab countries, Arab Gulf states, and that's a completely different business model altogether. But dairy itself is often is also now in high demand in Europe, you're saying.
Yes, obviously, the production of milk, if you see in Denmark, they have capped per dairy to 300 animals
Hmm.
due to carbon footprint, and it's going to reduce dramatically as well. So the demand of milk is still there. People need milk. So in other European countries as well. So we need to look into ways how we can convert the milk into different product, especially cheese and other dairy products, which we can later on sell it into European countries.
And I assume, Jafar, that a lot of these countries will have their own standards. that they have to go by, predetermined standards, and therefore they will only take milk from commercial farms that are abiding by those higher standards from Pakistan. Do they have those requirements? And
Yes, they have. Look, we cannot sell fresh milk into Europe. That's not even possible. So what they do is we can sell cheese over there, we can sell butter over there, we can sell ghee over there. But those all those products are being tested for their European standards. And until unless we meet those standards, we cannot sell our product over there. So, mashallah, we are already abiding by those standards. Our milk is toxin free. Our milk is tested for 28 other bacteria. So our milk is good.
Alhamdulillah, that's good to hear. That's a positive sign. And we've spoken about, obviously, so we're selling wholesale at the moment. What's the possibility of selling direct to consumer?
Basically, that requires investment and obviously energy from our team as well to sell that product. But we can do that. That's not a big thing to do.
Okay. What type of investment would that require?
Basically, that requires around the main investment is the farm needs the money every day. Selling directly to consumers in Pakistan means that you have to give them credit of a month. Uh,
Oh, okay, fine, fine. But that would be obviously from our investors' perspective who are considering investing in Gulshan Farms, that's not included directly in what we're doing right now. That would be a conversation we would have later. Same with the cheese, for example.
yes, obviously. Now, look, if in 2031 we decide to go into cheese business, so we have so much revenue coming in for our shareholders that we can ask them, okay, for example, this year we have every shareholder, every unit holder has made 15,000 US dollars of uh, profit. If everyone agrees and wants to put in half of it back into cheese business, we can start a separate term.
And within a year or so, that will be a separate source of income.
Yes, obviously.
Mm, amazing. Really exciting, mashallah. Really exciting.
Yeah, so we have 100 units, so that means around 700 to 800,000 US dollars in terms of collecting the revenue and starting up a new business.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, because whenever I've had conversations with people that are considering investing, one of the things that often excites them is the future opportunities that may present themselves to us as investors. So,
Obviously, there are so many future opportunities related to farm, so many things which we can do when we have sufficient funds. Uh, Possibilities are endless. We can go into farming, we can go into products, we can go directly to wholesale selling, from wholesale to consumer sales. We can go into grain business. There are 11 to 12 different sorts of investments which we can go into once we have established our dairy.
Alhamdulillah. And in terms of the it crossed my mind now. As you were speaking, I was thinking about something and I just lost the train of thought. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Mm. I lost the
So
train of
we were
thought
all
now.
talking about the beef business anyways. So beef project is completely different game. So for beef project, we have to put in our own money and develop another site for raising beef and selling it into Gulf countries. Plus, China is now buying beef from Pakistan as well. So that's a very big market as well. I don't have the exact figure, but that's definitely a billion-dollar export industry.
MashaAllah. I mean, we'll hopefully once we've sold these shares in Gulshan Farms, we're now gaining quite a lot of traction with people that are now watching our videos. I mean, just this morning I've had 8 or 9 messages, so I'm glad to see that people are sort of part of the conversation. And I think as the more they interested they become, the more opportunities they'll want to hear about to investors, inshallah. So somebody might not want to invest in dairy, but they might want to invest in the beef project that we might do, inshallah.
Yeah, and returns on beef projects are quicker as well compared to dairy.
Hmm. So, Jafar, one question I was asked by an investor this morning is so obviously you've sold certain shares already, you've generated a significant income from those shares. Where is that money
Mhm.
being spent? So obviously so basically people want to know accountability of the money that's already been spent and the money that you're raising. What's going to happen with this money?
Look, as I've explained to you before, I can do it now. We are spending that money on the development of farm. We are constructing sheds. We are basically the construction of shed is the one expense which is the highest expense in dairy. So it's around $6 per square feet, and the amount of sheds we are going to make this year, uh, one shed is equal to almost 40,000 square meters of square feet of each shed. So we're going to construct two sheds, plus we're going to expand our um, milking parlor. So that's a huge amount going into the construction.
So 40,000 square feet per shed is six. You said $6 per square feet. So that's
Yes,
$240,000 per shed.
yes.
Wow, so it's very, very significant amount of money,
40
isn't
to
it?
300. Yeah, $6 to $7 per square feet.
Okay, all right. That's good for people to know because I know people obviously they want to know that the money that's being raised is being spent in the right way. And in that regard, then, if our investors are that way inclined and they want to have access to what's going on the farm, who's spending it, what level of transparency is there for them?
Um, Look, everything is whatever we do it by the book, and we are a private limited company, which means that we have to be audited every year. So all sorts of books are open to all our shareholders, and we are ready to answer all questions. And inshallah, in this shareholders meeting, we would be discussing finances as well. So they would know that everything is on paper, and we'll share the asset lists as well, what we have done and where the money has been spent.
And I know it might be worth sharing with people the fact that people have access to the dairy software, so to the point where even the granular milk literage that's coming per animal, if people wanted to check that, they could.
Yes, the dairy software which we're using is updated every day, and our shareholders have access to that dairy software, and they can look into it every day they want to.
Yeah, yeah, it's good to know. I mean, obviously, people that are coming into this investment, one of their biggest concerns is obviously it's Pakistan and the trust and everything. And Alhamdulillah, I think one of the things that we've tried to show people is our transparency, so that against everything they might assume, that's not going to be true when it comes to our farm, inshallah.
Inshallah. Because uh, as I told you, large amount of these funds are going into construction and development of the farm, which means the money of our investors or shareholders is in asset form, and we are not losing the money. Instead, we have the money in sort of assets. Plus, the cows are the assets of the farm as well.
Hmm.
So, if we see the revenue which we collect and we spend, 85% of that revenue is going into assets,
Yeah.
so you can say that it's an asset-backed investment.
Yeah, exactly. Because people are very worried that they're going to lose their capital. That's our main concern. And what we're saying to people is, the chances of us losing our capital is extremely is almost zero because worst case scenario, the farm needed to close. We could just sell the animals and recoup that initial investment. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, that's correct.
Okay, fantastic.
And now
Good.
we are past that stage that we'll make loss in selling animals or selling the sheds. Next year we'll be in 2026 we'll be around 700 to 800 animals, and we would have uh, God forbid something happens and we have to sell the animals. We would have so much revenue we can
Hmm.
pay off our shareholders.
So, and in that regard, then I know we've spoken in a previous call about sort of the journey that we're going through and when we're safe as a farm. So, in your mind, Are we going through a difficult period? When is it going to be a case where you feel actually the worst is behind us?
By the end of next year, but this year we have pretty much crossed all the red lines which are in dairy. We have just surpassed that red lines in which dairies go into negative. So by next year, we have so many animals that everyone is secured.
And what just explain to people the what you were explaining to me the other day in terms of the percentages of animals and why year two is so difficult.
Yes, year two is so difficult because look, if we go into the spreadsheet which is open, so at the moment we have 110 milking animals. We are feeding another 105 and 220 animals on the money which we have, which we are generating from 110 animals.
I
So
understand.
that's a big load to feed. So that's
Mm.
why we are in negative this year. Next year we would be in milking revenue, sort of on equal grounds, and after that, it's going into positive every year.
But saying that then, won't you always have more heifers and calves compared to cows? Like, won't you always have that relationship where you have less cows and those cows are feeding, or but are the heifers themselves producing milk? Is that why?
Only cows are producing milk, but then we have to sell the animals as well. So when we sell the animals, we don't have that many heifers to feed. Heifers
Okay.
go out every year,
Okay, okay, I understand.
and new calves comes in.
Okay, good. We've only got a few minutes left in this call, so I just wanted to quickly summarize for people where we are, and I think I'll update you as well. So, Alhamdulillah, in terms of our shares that we're selling, we had 21 to sell. We have currently got commitments from various people for about 10 now. I've just had another couple of conversations, so probably 11. So we've got about 8 or 9 shares left, Alhamdulillah. And I don't expect this to take too long. Um, so, is there anything in that regard you just want to update people about, Jafar, about what's the campaign that we're running at the moment?
Obviously, campaign we are running it, and we are thinking by the looks of the campaign it's running that we would be selling all of our shares by the end of January.
Inshallah.
So if you are looking into it and if you want to buy the shares, you can call Nasir Bhai now and get yourself the proper documentation to do it. And one other thing in regards to previous question. So for example, by the end of 2026, we would be having around 800 animals. And so if we multiply that 800 by 3,500, that would be 2.8 million, which means everybody who has invested in the farm would only in terms of animals, if we shut down in some case, that's around 30,000 US dollars per unit holder.
Right.
That's only from the proceeds of animals. All other structure, infrastructure is different.
I actually just made a video which I'm just uploaded to YouTube on how I've come to the conclusion that in 2029-30 a share will be worth $100,000. So hopefully
Okay.
people will watch that video shortly and they'll see why I think that will be the case. But I'm very confident that what people are buying today for $40,000 in by 2029-30 when we're selling our shares, we can very comfortably sell that for $100,000.
Yeah,
Perfect. Good.
that's
Jafar, thank you so much for your time. We'll catch up soon. Hopefully, we'll have something else to discuss next time.
all right. Thank you, Nasir.
Assalamu alaikum.